How you doing?
I'm doing good.
You should be doing good, man.
Yeah.
Balling. Come on. What's the temperature in Houston right now? What are we practicing?
It was like 70 today. It's actually pretty outside.
It's a nice day. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Love it. We're going to go 10, 12 minutes, something like that. 10 minutes. What do you got? You good with that? We don't have
Yes,
anywhere to
sir.
be? Okay. Cool.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Let's go then. All right. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. You don't need to cut that, sir. Welcome into Scoop City on a Wednesday. I'm James Falber. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do both. If you just do one, I'll like you. If you do both, I will love you forever. We have a monster show coming up for you today. The great Kurt Warner, good friend, Hall of Famer, joins the show. He will break down everything regarding Phillip Rivers' return. Coming out of retirement, guess what? Kurt thought about doing it once in years past. He'll tell us everything he's concerned with and not concerned with Phillip Rivers, but we don't end the conversation there. We'll talk about all of these second-year quarterbacks that have a chance to make a postseason run and what could hold each of them back. Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, Bo Nix. We break them all down, as well as Jalen Hurts and what's wrong with this Phillies offense. We'll see exactly what Kurt says. I think it may surprise you. Also, maybe one of the best players in the NFL, Texans safety Calen Bullock, joins the show. You have to hear this conversation because you're going to remember that name moving forward. All right, joined now by Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner. We worked together, Kurt, for a long time. Great to see you. I want to pick your brain on a ton of things as we're now down in the home stretch, but obviously the big news as we're talking to each other on Tuesday, Phillip Rivers, 44 years old. I hear everything today, Kurt, is he knows the system inside and out. He's been talking to Shane Steichen. He still hasn't played football in 5 years. When you first heard this news, what was the first thing that went across your mind?
I mean, obviously it's crazy, just from the standpoint of you think about age and you think about the time out of the game. I think the thing I worry about the least is throwing the football, because that's a trait. I do a lot of training now and I hardly ever throw throughout the year, and I go and train a lot of guys. And when I do that, like I outthrow all of them, just because of, the technique. And when you know how to do it, it's like riding a bike. It comes back to you, and that technique can guide you in so many ways. Even though your arm may be, a little bit weaker, you may not be able to throw it as far. You could still make the majority of the throws with no problem that you need to make. So that's the least of it. The other parts are, just the physical movement part of it. When you haven't been doing something that is reactionary and has all this speed and these athletes around you. I'm curious how quickly that can come back. And then, of course, there's, little nuances to defenses and stuff that are different. And to be able to get up to speed mentally to see it, I've always been one of those guys that says I respect the game too much to think that I could sit out for 5 years and then just come back and pick up where I left off. But I've heard, Phillip, he's obviously coaching, so he's around football. How much he's throwing it, I don't know. I know he's trained some guys in the off season. So who knows what that's really like? Because I don't think any of us really know. We could sit back. I remember I had retired for a couple years and the Cardinals were going through a bunch of quarterback issues. And I went out back and started dropping and throwing a little bit. And I was kind of going, hey, if they call me, I'll entertain it. They never called. So I never had to see whether I could do it or not. But, those are the things that I think about when I hear this, like, okay, not worried about him throwing the football as much as I'm worried about the other aspects. And again, like, I don't know how quickly he's going to get thrown in there. And if he gets thrown in there quickly, like just, being able to play and protect yourself and have a semblance of success, because and again, I'm sure Phillip doesn't really care, how it plays out, big picture wise. But but we're all competitors and we want to go out there and put ourselves in a position where we can do well and we can really help our team. And so, there's a lot of questions for me, just like everybody else. And I will be fascinated if this thing plays out and he gets on the field. Yeah, it's been an unbelievable turn of events that has happened in Indianapolis to why we're here. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It really is. What was the one thing that when you're in the backyard going, what's the one thing I'm most concerned about if I was going to get that call? Yeah. Was there, what was the one thing if you walked into that facility that I need to check this box initially?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a couple things. The first thing, and I even thought about this when I was playing, like every offseason when I would go and train and then go back to training camp, I would always wonder in my mind, okay, will my reactions and kind of feel inside the pocket be what it was last year, and this is why I was still in the game, because you always wonder, we always talk about quarterbacks having kind of that sixth sense, kind of feel movement, feel pressure coming and, slide and move. That was one of the first things. Like if I wasn't around, people and doing things that involved other people and movement and being able to see that, would I be able to do that part of it? And then the second part was just the mental aspect of things. Like I was such a good processor when I played. And then you're not doing that. Like there's nothing you're really doing in life that continues, to force you to have to process information, see bodies, react to it, and put it all together. And so that was kind of the biggest thing for me. Is I even wasn't as worried physically as I was mentally. Like I don't want to go back and then everything's slow and everything looks like a blur and I'm just out there trying to survive instead of being able to, put my best foot forward for myself and for the team.
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah, it makes total sense. Monday night, Kurt, it looked like Jalen Hurts was out there trying to survive. I want to get your take on this offense. When I ask around and make calls and just try to figure out, hey, what's your perspective? I get so many different answers of this offense is elementary. They really just count on guys winning their one-on-ones oftentimes, and we've seen that in the past with Philly. What have you seen from this offense that just makes it so, I guess, appear disjointed? I love your take.
Yeah, I'm not a guy that thinks it has to be overly complicated if you have good concepts, and I think the Eagles have good, solid concepts, and I would agree that it's not, when I was with the Rams, we would have 250 pass plays in a game plan. Like I was with the Giants, we would, have 65 pass plays in the offense, on a weekly basis. So there's a variety of ways to do it. This has been the offense they've run for a number of years too. Like that's the other thing that kind of surprises me when everybody says so elementary. Well, it was the same pass offense last year and, same pass offense, years ago. And so it's not like, we can say it hasn't evolved, but you can also say, but we've had great success with this, and it wasn't too simple when we were winning Super Bowls and going to Super Bowls and winning playoffs. But, I just think – I think there's a number of factors. I think there is a predictability factor to it. And if you look at the game last night, I think it was Dante Jackson, that intercepted the one pass on the curl route by Devontae Smith. And on that particular play, I really felt like Jackson was like, oh, I know what's coming. And so Jalen made the right read. He threw it, where he was supposed to throw it. But the DB just jumped it, because he kind of like felt, okay, this is what they do. I started to feel Devontae, slow down. Boom, I'm going to jump it. And he beat Devontae before he could turn around. And so was that the case? I mean, I'd love to go and talk to him like, hey, why did you jump this? What did you see? Was it just a route thing, or did you know based off of what they had done? So there's part of that, but that's still a great concept. It's a concept that I ran every week in the NFL, and was one of my favorite concepts. Is it a little bit of a technique thing where the Eagles, if they have better technique, they hold off the DB? And so there's lots of little factors like that. Like if you're going to be simple, you've got to be really good at simple. Like you've got to be detail oriented, and you got to be able to do the right things right to be successful. So I don't look at it and go, man, it's overly simple. I look at it and go, they got a lot of good, solid concepts. Yes, they might not have a lot of them, but they're good, solid concepts. And so if you attack a defense right, somebody should be open in lots of cases. I think the other factor is, Jalen Hurts. Jalen's really good at what he does really well. And then there's certain things that I don't think he's great at. And that the big part of it is kind of processing, seeing it quickly and getting it out. Like if he knows where he wants to go with the football, and we saw that again on Monday night, like they could have easily won that game based on some throws that he made down the field that were just on the money. And you're going to see that every week. Like he's throwing a go route. He knows where he wants to go with the football. He can throw the football, and, he can make a lot of plays. when they take away number one from him, or they make number one really hard on him, that's when he struggles. And so it's not to say he's not a good quarterback. It's just to say his greatest strength is not processing, working through his reads and getting beyond, number one, or being able to see, some of the guys that are moving out there that other guys in this league just see better. And, and again, that comes down to a team now that isn't able to dominate up front, that isn't able to make it easier. And so Jalen is asked to do a little bit more of that than he has in the past. And it leads to a few mistakes a game. Like, again, I don't want this to come across like, oh, Jalen can't play quarterback. Jalen can't see and read. Like, that's not the case. There's just some guys that can see it, recognize it, move on, get to the right guy, and do it at a faster pace than I think Jalen does it right now. And it's the area that he's got to improve the most. And so when other factors aren't working as well as they have in the past, these things get accentuated for quarterbacks, and that's just part of the deal. Like, I could never move. So if my offensive line was struggling and we were getting quick pressure, that would force me to have to speed up and try to anticipate and try to guess a little bit more, because I couldn't run. Like, that wasn't my strength. So I had to play within my strengths and try to make it work when everything might not have been perfect around me. And obviously those were the games that I would struggle more than when things were better around me.
Yeah, I love that you finished on that, Kirk, because I'm going through your timeline, and I think we had an exchange on Twitter a little bit about what was going on with the Texans offense and adjustments to pressure. You just mentioned it, and I have this, it could be a harebrained philosophy, Kurt. I don't know. You call me crazy if you'd like. With not having answers very quickly in some of these offenses, and I know you're screaming about it when you're watching the film and you watch all of it. I have one thought that is, are we relying on the athletic ability of some of these quarterbacks because so many of them are mobile and can move and they'll get us out of it? Like, why are we having an issue where there's not something hot right away and there's not something there? Are we relying too much on the player that plays the position? I don't know.
I wish I could answer that question for you. But I really hope your theory is not the right theory. Like, I really hope that that coaches aren't saying, hey, if they do bring pressure, find a way to make a play. Like, that's bad football.
Get out.
Like, even though we see a lot of guys do it. We saw Jalen do it last night. Derwin James comes off the edge and he freezes him and he runs around the corner and he makes a play. Like, we've got enough athletic quarterbacks that I've seen do that numerous times. I mean, Josh Allen, his long touchdown run in this past game in the snow was a hot situation. They brought an extra guy and he was able to dip underneath him and run for 40 yards. But that can't be the answer that we give a quarterback. We can't say, well, this is what you have to do. You got to make that big guy miss and make a play. Like, that's a dumb answer.
If that's the ball in the second half.
Right. Like, And so what my harebrained theory is that coaches take two philosophies. First, they take the philosophy that, I'll call the right play at the right time all the time, which I can't stand because, nobody's going to be able to do that. Like, it's impossible to do that. Or the second theory is it won't cost us that much, because I was in some places where they didn't harp on it. And it's just like, we may throw hot once or twice, every 3 weeks. And so is it worth spending the time for that?
Interesting.
Well, the one thing I would say is, in this day and age, with the way that teams are pressuring and bringing different kinds of looks, that's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't care. Like, I don't want one negative play in a game to happen. Whatever that negative play is, where, they come. I was just talking to somebody today, and they asked me about the interception I threw in the first Super Bowl against the Patriots. And they're like, what happened on that play? And on that play, what happened was we were supposed to protect it, and we messed up the protection. And so I think it was Mike Vrabel that came free on me, and it surprised me because I thought we were going to be protected. And so naturally I'm like, I got to salvage this, and I got to try to beat this protection with the throw. And so I tried to anticipate, and I was early or I was late, and I threw it behind Isaac, and it becomes a pick six, and, could be the thing that loses us the Super Bowl. And so I say all that to go, when pressure comes and we don't have an answer for it, right? We're not ready for it. We're not planning for it. Bad things happen. whether we're taking a sack, whether we're trying to run around and it's a fumble, or whether we try to make a play like I did and we just react to it and then we make a dumb play. And at the end of the day, it comes back to us. I always use the adage, don't make a bad play worse. But when you're reacting in the moment, what you do as a playmaker is you react and you try to make a positive out of a negative. And often it goes the other way. And so again, I hate the answer that, hey, just make a play. I hate the idea that, if it might not cost us that much, so let's not work on it. And then I think the third theory is that what teams try to do now is they try to solve all the problems or all the questions with their protections. And so you see a lot more of like, okay, the back is going to start with the will linebacker. And if the will linebacker doesn't come, then he's got the Sam linebacker. Or if the will linebacker, now he's got the safety. But what teams are doing is they walk 7 guys up to the line of scrimmage. And they got a guy in the A gap, and that's the back's first responsibility. So he's got to step there just to see if he's coming, whether he is or not. Then the safety that they got comes off the edge, or the Sam comes off the edge. And now, once again, the quarterback's hot. But the quarterback's been told, don't worry about it. We'll pick it up. Got it. The back will go will to Sam. So if they don't bring both of them, we're good. And very few teams are going to bring that. So you're good. But then the quarterback standing there like a statue thinking, I'm good. Whack. He gets hit in the back. And so to me, there's a variety of issues that I see. And again, those are all my theories. I think the other theory, and again, I got lots of them. The other one is that coaches don't understand it enough on how to build it and how to adjust it and how to have these hots as a part of everything that they do offensively.
Yes.
So when you don't have that, now you're kind of like, we're just going to roll the dice and hope that it doesn't cost us. And I see it every week, not only costing teams, but I think the thing that bothers me more than anything else is I see quarterbacks that have no answer or aren't ready to have an answer. And they're just getting whacked over and over and over again. And it's just frustrating to watch because we just got to do we got to do better by the quarterbacks to give them, solutions to the problems if we expect them to go out and have success. And we expect, one of those negative plays not to cost us on a weekly basis.
Yeah, that's. I think all of your theories are better than mine.
I got lots of theories, and it's probably different in different places.
Of course,
but I believe all of that is part of the bigger problem that we're seeing.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And when I look at it with young quarterbacks, there's 3 that are in postseason contention right now with these 3 second-year guys and Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and Drake Maye. I love that they all have an experienced play caller with them. I think that's huge for a young quarterback. But if each one of these teams are kind of looking to make a run, do you have a quick one thought maybe on each guy that you're looking to see maybe some growth from one of them? I know you watch all their films, so like down the line of Caleb, Bo, and Drake, which if this gets improved, I think a run is even more possible from each one of these teams.
Yeah, I think let's start with Caleb. I think what we've seen, and or at least I'll say what I've seen, is I've been impressed and convinced more and more each week that's gone on, and specifically the last 2 weeks going to Philly and then in Green Bay, that this is a good football team. I wasn't so sure, when Ben came there and, with where Caleb was last year, I'm like, I think it's going to take some time. The defense doesn't have a lot of big names on the defense. So you're thinking, I know they've been okay in the past, but, I don't know how good they're going to be. And the more I watch them, the more I think this is a good football team. Their offensive line's playing well. They're running the football really well. Their defense shows up every single week and makes plays. So to me, kind of like Ben Johnson said last week, we're kind of winning in spite of our pass game. And I think the biggest thing there to me is, and I don't fully agree with that because I believe Caleb's making big throws every game in the pass game that's giving them chances and allowing them to stay in games or even win some of these games late. But I think what he's saying is that our pass game isn't efficient enough. When we've got opportunities, we're not taking advantage of every opportunity that's out there, and that's costing us or not allowing us to win some of these games or get out in front in some of these games. So all that to say, Caleb's got to become more efficient at hitting the layups that are out there. When Ben creates a play and the play's out there, whether it's a read or a throw, and it's what I would call more of an elementary level read or throw, like a starting quarterback in the NFL should make this throw most of the time, shouldn't make this read every time. He's got to do a better job of making those plays. And if he doesn't, it's going to cost him against good football teams. When you have to play 2 or 3 of those teams, you can't miss easy opportunities and think that you're going to make up for that. I don't think Chicago's that good. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're that good, or I don't think Caleb's that good right now to overcome that and make a run that way. Let's go out to kind of your stomping grounds, and let's go to Bo Nix and company. Here's the thing. Bo, makes plays all over the place. And so there's part of me that loves that aspect of things, is that he finds ways to make positive plays, which is always what you want from your quarterback. But for me with Bo is he's going to have to settle in the pocket more. I think he misses a lot of opportunities. Like the game the other night, I know he finished like 31 to 38. And you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, like what a night that is. But when you watch the film, a lot of it was because he was passing up opportunities that were there and throwing checkdowns and getting completions. And they were positive plays, which again, I'm all for positive plays over a negative play or anything else. But when teams give you opportunities, and again, when you're playing against the best teams in the league, when they give you opportunities, that game should have been a blowout. And I know it wasn't close in the score, but still it was too close based on the way both teams played. But a big part of it is because, you're settling for checkdowns and you're settling for completions when other things are there. And some of it is because he plays a little too fast for me in the pocket. And I'm sure you've had conversations with them. We covered one of their games over in Europe. And he told me, he said, I feel more comfortable when my feet are moving. And so there's a great analogy by Sean Payton, who was talking about Bo Nix versus Drew Brees. And he said, if both of them are point guards, if we're coming down and we need a shot at the end of the game to win it, if I got Drew Brees, I'm calling a timeout and we're setting up the play and we're laying out how it's going to play out, and he's going to go out there and direct it and we're going to win that way. If it's Bo Nix, I'm not calling a timeout. I'm throwing the ball into him. I'm putting it in his hands, and I'm letting him play ball. And, kind of the same thing. I'm letting him move his feet. I'm letting him go because that's where he's most comfortable and most effective. So I understand that part of it. But as a quarterback, that's not like there's times he gets the back of the pocket and he's moving already. And the great thing is he throws tremendously on the run, maybe the best thrower on the run we have in the league. So he bails himself out a lot with that. But I think he misses a lot of things because of that. And that's kind of the next step, is I want all the positives in playmaking, but I also need you to make those plays, those big plays that are there in front of you, because again, those are the difference-making plays when you're trying to make a Super Bowl run, that differentiate, the good quarterbacks or the championship quarterbacks from everybody else.
Makes sense. Real quick on Drake Maye. I mean, I've talked to people in that building, Kurt, that have just, they've loved the way they've brought him along and the way Josh has added as time has gone on through this season. They obviously threw it all at him at the beginning of the year and then kind of like have said, that's all of it. But now let's build it as the year goes with the play action and stuff. What have you seen from Drake?
I've seen him grow as well. Early in the year, I would have said something similar to Bo, was that I felt like he was missing a lot of his first throws, kind of working through things a little too fast. And missing some obvious things in front of him. I think he's cleaned that up and he's gotten better at it. I just think right now he's the most complete of all of these guys. He's seeing it. I give a lot of credit to Josh McDaniels. Josh builds it like I would build it. Giving him answers, saying, hey, if you get this coverage, you're on this side. This is your reads. If you don't have it, get to your check down or take off and make a play. I'm not a big fan of the pure progression. Start over here, try to work across the whole field. Like, I want to know where I'm going. I want to know what my answers are. I want to feel confident in those things so I can get back and rip the football. And Josh obviously did that with Tom. Tom saw the game very much like that, and they together they performed at an extremely high level. Drake seems to be a guy that sees it and plays the game very much like that. And so this system, to me, fits what he's doing. Couple that with the way he's throwing the football, and especially down the field. I mean, he is so accurate down the field throwing the football. He's got great touch on the ball. I always say firm but soft. When you watch him throw it, he never seems to throw it too hard and throw it through you like maybe Caleb Williams would. but the ball always gets there. It's always firm. It's always going, gets to where it's going, and it's easy to catch. And so I just love the way he's playing right now. And so I think he just needs to continue to advance with what he's doing. But I think the way that he's playing right now of all of these guys is the guy that I would say, if he continues to play like this through the playoffs, they have a real chance, to compete for a championship.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. All right, I got to squeeze one more out of you because I feel like Jordan Love is on the verge of entering that elite group. I feel like we've been waiting, third year in the system. A lot of people say that, Kurt, right? You take full ownership maybe at that time. What have you seen from Love? To me, third down has been outstanding. Third and long specifically has been his money time, which is very difficult oftentimes to complete. What have you seen from Love that maybe could push the Packers? Because this is a Super Bowl roster in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. I really like Jordan and what he does. I think he plays with great poise and great calm. Moments aren't too big. He doesn't panic very often. He's really good with the long ball and has the ability to make it, when he's not, in structure or, kind of falling away and doing some of those things. So I think his long ball and the big plays are great for them. I think the other thing that he does is he gets positive plays, kind of like Bo as well. So, if he doesn't see something, he's going to get a completion for you. Now, there's the intermediate area that I want to see the uptick, where it's not holding it and throwing it down the field and it's not quickly getting to a check down. And I will say, sometimes I'm not a huge fan of the pass game that the Packers run, and some of the things that they do. But when I watch him on film, there are a number of throws that I think are out there that he either doesn't see or he just passes on. And I can't quite figure out what it is. I can't quite figure out that piece. But again, I'm a believer that you have to let the offense work for you. If you're going to try to, if you're going to miss opportunities through the course of the game and expect to get, enough big plays or that the checkdowns are always going to win for you, I think that's a tough formula. Now, you got a good defense, he's got some good pieces around him that, again, better teams can get away with missing more of those opportunities. But if I'm going to see him take that step to elite, I want to see him make the big plays. I want to see him make the positive plays, but I want to see him make most of the plays, right? That to me is what makes an elite quarterback, is you make most of the plays that are out there in front of you on a consistent basis. And when you can do that, that's when you take that step up, because now I can win however you want. I can win with big plays. I can win by playing the offense. I can win by finding the positive play when there's not a lot there. That's what takes you to the next level. And that to me is just the small missing piece. He does a lot of things well. The small missing piece that I want to see a little bit more consistency with.
Yeah, that's a great point. It was when they lost Tucker Kraft, it was kind of like, what's that underneath type of answer that we have in this offense?
Right? The underneath, the intermediate area of the field that's not just dropping it to a back or dropping it to a late leak by a tight end. Exactly.
Yeah. Really great point. Kurt, I truly appreciate this. You're outstanding. This is wonderful. It was great to chat with you again. I hope the family has a wonderful holiday. Hope you guys have a great time together. We'll be talking, but thank you so much for
you got it.
I'm always smarter after we chat. After we text, I'm always smarter.
Chopping it up with you, my man, and happy holidays to you and your family as well. And I'm sure we'll cross paths in the near future.
Certainly. Thank you so much. I could just talk ball with Kurt all day. I really could. It's probably one of the greatest things that I got to do over the years, and I love doing it. We'll do it again on this show sometime soon. But we do have a great guest coming up, so stay tuned to Scoop City. Calen Bullock joins us, maybe one of the best players in the NFL you're not paying attention to. One of the best safeties in the league, is a part of one of the best defenses in the league, and the Texans are red hot. Stay tuned to Scoop City. All right, welcome back to Scoop City. I'm James Palmer. We have a very special guest. I'm going to say it. It's Calen Bullock from the Houston Texans, one of the best safeties in the league. Calen, I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say that repeatedly throughout the show because we have something we need to accomplish in this interview. We need to get you love for the way that you're playing, okay?
Appreciate that a lot.
We're going to do that. So you're fresh off the practice field. I used to cover this team. I was a beat reporter in Houston. What do? Do we walk back to the stadium? Are you one of these guys that takes a cart? How do you get back from the practice field?
I took the cart today. I took the cart today. I did some extra catching off the jug. So cart came pick me up after practice.
I love it. Back in the day, man, Arian Foster, Dwayne Brown, those guys were on the team when I was covering them. They used to take segways from the practice field back to the facility. 300-pound offensive lineman riding Segways was a bit dangerous, so they got rid of those.
That's crazy.
They got rid of those. I mentioned it at the top. One of the best, I think, safeties in the league. I'm not alone in this. I want to say this. 43.2 completion percentage you're allowing, fourth best in the NFL. 42.7 passer rating, third best in the NFL. I remember when Shane Steichen was talking to the media when you guys were playing the Colts, he more or less said, I think you guys are forgetting somebody. Calen Bullock was playing like one of the best safeties in the league. He had to remind the media group that he was talking to. How do we get you this love with the way you're playing, man? What can we do on this show to help you out?
I got to do my job first. I got to keep
You're doing your part.
I got to keep going out there and making plays so I can help y'all out and help me out.
It'll be circular. We'll do it. You're doing your part. We'll try to do our part. Push for a Pro Bowl. Let's do it. I asked some kind of executives around the league before we did this because I wanted to chat with you. And I thought this was great for an opposing team. He said, I think he's playing one of the best post safeties in the NFL right now. Reminds me of Earl Thomas playing in a defense. What's your thought when you hear that from somebody who's watching your game in the second year of the NFL?
I appreciate that a lot, especially me growing up watching Earl Thomas. And I know he was a great post player, so I take a lot from his game. So just hearing that, it means a lot, especially from a player that I watch a lot.
Yeah. Who else did you watch? Like
a lot of Earl Thomas, a lot of Ed Reed. I love them too. Like them probably was my two main guys who's around the ball in the post a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's who I like try to model my game after.
I love that. Hey, you're talking about some guys that could cover some ground.
Yeah, you're talking about some dogs.
Some guys that cover the ground. It reminds me of that pick you had against Bo Nix in Denver. Man, you came all the way across the field.
Yes, sir.
You're coming off of an outstanding performance as a group. You hold Patrick Mahomes to one of his worst, if not worst, performance of his career. I want to go into the film room when you guys got back to the facility. I know you had off till Wednesday, till today, I think.
Yeah.
Coach gave you off.
Sir.
What was it like when you guys were in the film room and you see Jalen Petre's hit on Rashee Rice? What is the reaction in the room when you get a chance to see that on film?
Yeah, everybody was just like, oh, snap. Like, just seeing it on film. Of course, we seen it in person live, like in the game, but seeing it on film was even crazier. It was like, Fi laid him out. Like, he killed that boy out there.
He did, man. He did. Not only did he also have a pick that he tipped to himself, which was unbelievable.
Unbelievable play. Unbelievable.
And what you're doing, I mentioned him. Obviously, at the corner, I'll get to them as well with the way that Sting and Laster are playing. But
yes, sir.
You're so physical as a group. And that seems to be something that's really difficult for secondaries to do in today's NFL with the way calls go and the way it's officiated. How are you coached? How are you guys doing this to be as physical of a group as you are back there? Because it's hard in today's league to intimidate receivers, and I think you guys do that.
I mean, we just got that savage mindset. Everybody in the back end, we savages out there. That's our mindset when we go out there. We gonna hit. We gonna be sticky in coverage. We gonna be a complete defense. Like you said, you don't find too many defenses where the defensive backs is out there just hitting. You see Kamari coming off the edge. Like it's a lot of us. We all just savages. We got that savage mindset.
Yeah. Oh, listen, you're an outstanding group. You're all ball hawks. I look at what you have. I don't know if you know this. You and the Chargers are the only teams that have more interceptions than passing touchdowns allowed as a defense.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? And so you have 4. Who else has 4? Petrie has 4?
Yep, got 4.
And both corners have 3, right?
Yes.
Sting and Laster?
Yes.
All right. You're all catching balls. Who's the best receiver out of the group? You played receiver in high school.
That's me for sure. Okay. Yeah, that's me for sure. That's hands down. Hands down.
Yeah.
Ain't no question. I'm the best receiver. If I had to go switch,
yeah,
I'm the best receiver for sure.
Are we lobbying at all to D'Amico at all about?
Nah, we don't need to do that. Our receivers, they getting the ball themselves.
You guys got a lot of good receivers.
Yeah,
you got a lot. What would be your favorite route? Go-to route as a receiver?
Come back, sell to go. Okay. Come back. They gonna think, break down, get out my breaks.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, that's when you use that footwork as a corner to your advantage.
Exactly.
And as a guy in the secondary. You're going against Trey McBride this week. Nobody has more catches in the NFL this season. What makes him such a difficult cover that you guys got to focus on this week? You know the ball's going there.
Yeah, we know, like, he's fast. He can run every route. They use him as a receiver. He's tied with Puka, I think?
It's him and Puka with 93.
Him and Puka. So that tells you, like, they're getting the ball to him, and after he catch the ball, he's trying to get somewhere with it. He's trying to go score. He's breaking off a lot of tackles, so He's one of the best right now.
Yeah, he is. And listen, they're just one of those offenses that you have.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them more down the line to keep this going, what you guys are playing as the best defense in football. What has worked so well? I mean, I don't think there's even an argument after what you guys did against Josh Allen, what you guys did against Patrick Mahomes. I think that solidified it nationally that this is the best defense in football. Why is it the best defense in football?
I think just going to the coaching staff, they let every guy go out there and play fast. They don't want us out there second guessing, thinking too much. We stick to our play calls and we execute. That's what we preach the whole week. Let's execute the fundamentals and get those down pat and let everybody go out there and swarm and play fast. And we just all trust each other, gonna do their job. Let the front end go hunt, and the back end we be sticky.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if I've ever seen really in recent memory a better rush and cover group. Yeah, and the way you guys feed off
rush
of each
and covers
other,
work together.
It's outstanding. I mentioned the Josh Allen game. I got to ask you this real quick. Like what you did in that game, with you get 2 picks, you force a fumble, you chest bump a referee, you kind of did everything out there. Is that the best game you've ever played?
Yeah, that's for sure the best game I ever played. Especially primetime football, it don't get no better than that. Whole world watching versus Josh Allen, who just came off MVP. Yeah, that's for sure the best game.
Yeah, I love it. And I mentioned what you guys did against him, what you guys did against Pat this past week. What's the mindset in the building, Calen? Is it embrace this, keep riding high, or like let's not get too high, we still have work to get done? Like how are you guys using the way you're playing?
We just talked about that today, actually. We don't focus on the outside. We not getting too high. We gonna keep our head down and focus and keep stacking each week, go out there and prove why we're one of the best. That's all we can do. We can't get caught up into the media, what people say, the pats on our back. Because, shoot, we seen how we started off. We started off not too good, but we turned it around, and we got to keep rolling. Yeah,
and a big part of that, and I know you're not on this side of the ball, but you see C.J. Stroud back, and you see that group, and you mentioned the receivers that you guys have. You have a lot of them. What have you seen from your offense this second half of the year? You have a new play caller, obviously. You get to see what they do. What are you seeing from them the back half of the year that you can see them maybe take their side of the ball up a little bit and play alongside you guys?
I would say just their confidence level. Their confidence level has been high. We know we got the pieces. We know we got the guys to go out there and make plays. And we know we got one of the best quarterbacks to go get them guys the ball. And CJ's playing at a high level. Our receivers playing at a high level. Nico. So we get them guys the ball, let our O-line give CJ some time back there, and he make magic. He make things happen.
Yeah, he does. He has, man. Third and long at Arrowhead, he was making plays, man. He was making plays. I mentioned that Nick's a new play caller. You guys, you're so talented as a defense, and D'Amico up and just gives up play calling and gives it to Matt Burke, your defensive coordinator, a handful of games into the season. What was that switch like? What has worked since that switch happened?
I would say it was no different. Coach Burke, he lets us go out there and play physical, play fast, same as D'Amico. We not holding back. We gonna, like you said, the rushing covers works. So Coach Burke, he lets us go out there and he wants to take away all the confusion during the week. If we're confused on something and something don't look right, we're going to take it out. Let's not play that. Let's stick to our fundamentals, our technique, our regular play calls that we go out there and execute, that we know like the back of our hands. And that's what we go do.
I love it. And you've been doing it. All right.
Yes,
before
sir.
you go, I gotta ask you this. The biggest story in the NFL is Phillip Rivers right now, right? He rejoins the Colts. You play the Colts last week of the season. I looked this up. Your head coach played against Phillip Rivers. Okay, so put that in perspective. And I looked up this insane game that D'Amico was playing middle linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen to this. Phillip Rivers throws for 419 against D'Amico and company with 3 touchdowns, no picks. He wins 33. He's not going to like that. Listen to this. He wins 33-30 over Michael Vick in the Eagles. Vick threw for 428 in that game. And 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know how much defense was being played in this game.
It don't sound like it.
These guys were lighting it up. Right?
Yeah.
Has D'Amico? You got to ask D'Amico about Phillip Rivers, the trash talker, because he's one of the biggest trash talkers on the planet, but he still won't curse. Will you be able to trash talk a grandfather? Because that is what Phillip Rivers is. He is a grandfather.
We're going to have some jokes for him. For sure, especially going at his age and him being out there.
Yeah.
Yo, hey, you probably take one of these sacks from Danielle Hunter and Will. Your body might break out here. We don't know. We're going to have some jokes. We're going to have some jokes.
He's double your age, man. Like,
yeah, facts.
It's insane, man. I love the way you're playing. I love the way this defense is playing. It's been outstanding. I know that building has been rocking with the way that you guys play on that side of the ball, for sure. And this is what we're gonna do. This is our first campaign of the Calen Bullock Pro Bowl campaign here. Yeah, appreciate y'all for sure. Play well, stay healthy, man. Enjoy watching you guys go down the stretch.
Thank you.
As Calen and I talked about, guess what? Phillip Rivers will face the Texans Week 18. We have more on Rivers because James Boyd, our Colts reporter, has seen him on the field, been in the locker room, been in the press conference. He's going to take us inside the Colts facility next on Scoop City. All right, welcome back to Scoop City on a Wednesday. James Palmer with you with one of our favorite guests. James Boyd joins us. He's been on here a bunch. It's when they were red hot, those Indianapolis Colts. And then it was like, oh no, what's happening, James? And now we're back talking these Colts nonstop because Phillip Rivers is in the building. I feel like there was a sense, and take me inside the facility and what that press conference was like today, to where maybe it was very grim, very somber, like things are not going well. Did the energy change, or is it the same? What's it like with Phil Rivers walking in the door? Is there a different feel?
Absolutely. We joke here that when you come into the facility and there's nobody lining the walls of the media room, nothing's happening. Today, it was packed, with cameras and, Colts staffers who probably had no reason to being in here other than being nosy and wanting to see Phillip Rivers try to restart his football career. And then just the emotion from him in general, walking in, saying how grateful he was to be back in the NFL and, how it feels like just yesterday he was with the Colts leading into the playoffs, all of the above. So a lot of emotion, some tears from Phillip Rivers as well. So for me, it just feels like I'm living in the Twilight Zone, but this is real life.
This is real life. This is it. You're entering another dimension. It's Phillip Rivers. How about that? Are we going to enter another dimension on Sunday? Tell me this. If Phillip Rivers starts on Sunday, would it be because he's ready or because Riley Leonard's not healthy enough to start? What would be the reason that Phillip Rivers starts?
I think it would be because he's ready. Because when Shane was asked, hey, is Riley still your starter this year? He said, we're working through that. And that, to me, said everything right then and there about how they feel about Phillip Rivers and his ability to perhaps play this coming Sunday. And I straight up asked Shane Steichen, excuse me, I know this is all great and everything, but he's 44. And are you sure he came here to play? Like, not mentor Riley Leonard, not just be here for an emergency. He's like, no, absolutely, he came to play. So Shane Steichen, who notoriously never gives anything in interviews. He's very boring for that matter. But today, he even had more juice and energy in his voice, and he was very bullish on Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement and, stepping right in and trying to help this team. So I would not be surprised at all if they got to the end of the week and Riley Leonard is healthy, but then Phillip Rivers has practiced and they're weighing, hey, who gives us the better chance? And they go with Phillip Rivers.
I can't wait. It's not like that Seattle defense is any sort of a slouch. And so we had Kurt Warner on earlier in the show, James, and he was talking about, I guarantee the arm's still fine. You saw him on the practice field. I'm wondering what you got. You can't watch a lot during the week. I get it. But I think everybody's curious how he moves. Kurt talked about those sudden movements in the pocket as something that he would keep an eye on. Like, you don't move a bunch when you're warming up, but just your overall assessment of Phillip Rivers on a football field, an NFL football field, not coaching high school.
Well, two things to just consider and keep in mind when it comes to Phillip Rivers. He did say he's heavier than he was when he last played, and I do think that is accurate, seeing him out there in his practice uniform. However, the arm looks fine. I mean, for the most part, we don't get to watch, obviously, the team periods. It was more just routes on air, but the arm looks fine. But one other thing to note as well, James, is the order. And maybe I'm reading too much into this, but the order of the quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers was the starter in practice for the portion that we viewed. He took the first reps every single drill. And then it was Riley Leonard, and then it was Brett Rippon. That, to me, again, kind of leads me to believe that they're seriously considering this guy being up to speed. And one bonus one for you. They were not supposed to practice today. For the last 2 weeks, Shane Steichen had gone with the walkthrough on Wednesdays, and he's done that in years past to keep his team fresh at this time of the year. But a few hours after they agreed to a deal with Phillip Rivers yesterday, I get an email saying, oh, no. There's no more walkthrough. There's a practice Wednesday. And Shane said flat out today, a part of that reason for the change was to get Phillip Rivers more reps.
Oh, I love it. And so that's what we get when you bring you in here. You're taking us inside the facility. Bring me in one more time. What's going on with the rest of the guys in the locker room. Like when you ask other players about Phillip Rivers returning and being their possible quarterback moving forward, most of the answers are what?
There's a healthy level of respect there because they appreciate him even trying to come out of retirement to potentially help them get into the playoffs. And then there's familiarity. Every person I talked to in the locker room today is like, okay, well, we know either from watching him as a kid growing up, some of the younger players like Tyler Warren, or as a former teammate like Zaire Franklin or Michael Pittman Jr., who caught his first touchdown pass from Phillip Rivers. He was saying, no, we believe in him because we've seen him do it before. And I think that helps them just kind of believe that it's possible even 5 years later.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I have to ask this question because we are all very excited about this. And Phillip's one of the best personalities and one of the best players we've ever seen play the position in the league. This also does have some of a perception of grasping at straws here in a season that seems to be slipping away after such a great start. Could there be, in your opinion, just being around the facility and talking to your sources, that certain things could be evaluated if this goes terribly wrong or whatever sense, that it started so well and it didn't finish well? With new ownership, James, in place essentially and making the call, is there any fear for Chris Ballard or Shane Steichen or anything that could maybe rattle the organization this offseason with the way this season has gone, specifically if this doesn't go well at all?
I think the possibility of losing out could change everything for this franchise, because if they were to lose the last 4 games of the year, they will be tied with the Jeff Saturday season from a few years ago for the longest losing streak to end a season in Colts history, which would be 7 straight games. And so if they're not able to get on the board after the Hail Mary of Phillip Rivers, and despite all of the injuries, I think you're going to have some conversations about keeping this regime together and your future at quarterback as well. Because yes, you can say the injuries were a factor, but you could also say, okay, Chris Ballard, you've had 8 years before this one to get it right, and you didn't get it done. And Shane Steichen, you're 3 years in. If you miss the playoffs, how many head coaches can, get a job, miss the playoffs for the first 3 years, and keep that job? And then as far as quarterbacks go, what are your options going into 2026? Because who knows what Daniel Jones will look like, how he'll recover. Anthony Richardson remains on injured reserve due to an eye injury. Is he a possibility for next year? Is he certainly back in plays? There's so many factors. And I think Carly Ursay-Gordon will certainly have to have some tough conversations and really, think along the pros and cons very much so, because there is no black and white decision for her to make because of so much nuance that's happened over the last month.
It's unbelievable, really. It's been one of the more fascinating seasons. I'm curious where it ranks for you in terms of just anything and everything that could possibly go wrong, from pregame eye injuries to playing on a broken leg to an Achilles to an amazing comeback for Daniel Jones and reviving his career. All these different things that have happened. An unbelievable trade through the middle of the season. We're going to keep our eyes focused on this Indianapolis Colts organization. I know you'll be on here a bunch, James. Appreciate you joining us, man. Also want to thank Calen Bullock from the Texans, star safety. You gotta pay attention to this man, joining the show as well as Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. That'll do it for Scoop City on a Wednesday. James, get back to work. I think you had a couple more Phillip Rivers stories to write.
Of course.
Thanks for watching Scoop City. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. New episodes of Scoop City drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.